Welcome. This is A Course of Love book group. So far, I am the one here tonight, but it's written by Perron, first receiver. Tonight we are on chapter 30, which is page 185. So far, I'm the only one here, so others may come in, but I will go ahead and start reading. Chapter 30, Being Present. How is being present different than being? Are they not the same thing? Should they not be? And yet, how seldom are you fully present for your own life, your own self, capital S, your own being. If you were fully aware of your own being, you would be in oneness with your Father. How can one be distracted from oneself? And yet you are. Many go through life searching for self-definition, self-actualization. Where are they as they search? Where is their being? If reaching a particular destination is all that is sought, the journey becomes but the means for getting there. All learning is seen as preparation for the future. Or for some eventual outcome, rather than for your being. You attempt to learn for something other than yourself, for some purpose other than yourself. Thus was service given, another route for being separated from the self and your function here. When you learn in order to contribute something to your work and your world, you bypass yourself. Your learning must take on a new focus. Be like little children and inhale the world around you in order to make it part of yourself. Be like the little children and learn in order to claim your learning for yourself. Learn who you are through each experience rather than learning in order to find out who you are or what your contribution will eventually be. Being in relationship is being present. Being present has nothing to do with time as you think of it. You think of this instruction to be present as an instruction that relates to time. You think of present time, past time, future time. We have spoken of these modes of keeping time as well. But as the word keeping illustrates, there is nothing about time that can be kept. The only thing real about time is its eternal nature. You are headed toward what might be called universal consciousness, though you will not know it when it is at first achieved. For universal consciousness is knowing self, while you think it is knowing all. Knowing self is knowing all. But this you do not as yet understand. Universal consciousness is being in relationship. It is the true self, the known self, in all its glorious relationship with life. All matter is born and dies. All life is forever. The known self realizes this and begins to act in accordance with this knowing. This world, as you perceive of it, is built around the foundation of fear. A fear that stemmed from the belief in finite life, in being born into a body and dying to the body. The person who knows, truly knows, the simplest truth of the identity of the self no longer lives in a dualistic position with God, but in a monistic state with Him. The difference is in realizing relationship with the infinite instead of the finite, with life as opposed to matter. This huge difference is easily overlooked and rarely seen as the key that unlocks the door to universal consciousness being present. There is no being and no present in matter. In matter, being must be attached to form. In the sense of time described by the word present, there is no infinitude. but only a vague concept of now. This is the key concept that I not only knew but demonstrated. This is the legacy, the inheritance I left you. This discourse may seem to have traveled far from the words of love, words promised and words given in truth. For no love is finite in nature. Love has no beginning and no end. Love is a demonstration and a description of universal consciousness of being in relationship. All relationship is relationship with God, who is love. What the Course is speaking of now, in essence, is gain without loss. You will never be aware of gain without loss while you believe in what is finite in nature. The cycle of giving and receiving is thus never complete, and the certainty you seek, always waiting for something you do not yet have, some information, some guarantee, some proof or validation. You might think if you are right, you will be successful. If you are successful, you will be secure. If you are good, you will prosper. You do not see these ways of thinking as ideas associated with gain and loss, but they are. All thinking that is of a if this then that nature is thinking in terms of gain and loss. This is why we have worked to leave thinking behind. This belief in gain and loss is a cornerstone of your system of perception, viewed from a stance of if this, then that. It rules the nature of your existence because you have made it ruler by abandoning the laws of God. The laws of God are laws of love. Within the laws of love, there is no loss, but only gain. The source of love and its location is your own heart. Think now of the created form, the body. When the heart stops beating, life is seen to be over. Are you thus your heart? Or can you not see that the created form was made in God's own image, as was all creation? You are God's image given form, as is all creation. We, all of us together, are the heartbeat of the world. Without unity, we would not be. Without our source, which is God, we would not be. The laws of unity are God's laws and are simple indeed. Giving and receiving are one, and thus giving and receiving as one is the only way in which God's laws are fulfilled. Since God's laws are the laws that rule the universe, they cannot go unfulfilled. Giving and receiving are thus one in truth. God's laws are generalizable and do not change, and thus the laws of man have not usurped the laws of God. It is only in your perception that the laws of man take precedence over the laws of God. Since perception arises from the mind, we must now discuss the mind. Chapter 31. The nature of the mind. There is only one mind, just as there is only one will. This you are afraid of, as you believe this statement threatens your independence, something you consider a state of being to be highly prized. This statement, however, more rightly confirms your interdependence and your wholeness. The idea of sharing one heart, one heartbeat, one love is not so unacceptable to you as the idea of sharing one mind. Your thoughts, you feel, are your own, private and sacrosanct. These highly guarded and regarded thoughts are what A Course in Miracles calls body thoughts. Distinctions are made in many religions and philosophies that separate thought as dictated by the body from thought of a higher order or spiritual thought. Thoughts related to your personal self and the laws of the body such as those of survival, are not the thoughts of the true self. This is the clarification that needs to be made for some of you to fully let go of your fear of the shared thought system of unity. How silly is it to be afraid of the truth? Fear of the truth is like a fear of the impossible being possible, like the fear of death. It is the product of upside down thinking. You do not understand that something can be inseparable and still not be the same. The miracle of turning water into wine illustrates, as all miracles do, the fallacy of this concept. You must understand this and all miracles correctly if you are to be a miracle worker. What is inseparable cannot be different. But this does not mean it must be the same. Inseparable does not mean replaceable. Water does not replace wine, nor wine water. Yet each are from the same source, and so they are not different, even while they are not the same. Your fear of sameness is your fear of oneness, and it is an unfounded fear, though understandable given your concept of what is the same and what is different. Yet, as your forms so readily illustrate, while all bodies are the same, they are also different. Form but imitates content. This is the difficulty with studying the mind. The mind is your being, and so you can study it not. No more than you can ever see the entirety of your body unaided, or remove your own brain to view it beneath the microscope. Yet you call your body your own and identify it as yourself. The body moves and breathes, your heart beats, and your blood pumps, quite unaided by your conscious self. You know that if you had to consciously cause these functions to take place, you would surely die. For managing the workings of the body would be more than your conscious mind could handle. You could not possibly give all the commands necessary if such commands were needed. Thankfully, you have a brain that fulfills this function. Yet this brain is also you. Does it work independently from you? Is it separate? Is it the same? So too is it with mind. Mind is your being. It is no accident that it has become synonymous to many of you with brain, an interchangeable word that conveys the same idea. Mind is the control center, that which remembers and stores away knowledge, that which is both you and beyond your understanding of you. Form mimics content. Form mimics the truth, but does not replace it. The rest of your world imitates truth as well. You live on one world, one planet, one earth. You may live on different continents, different countries, various cities, but all of you rely on the one earth as part of a sameness and interdependence you accept. You are aware that this earth rests in a cosmos beyond your comprehension, and that the cosmos, too, is something that the earth and all on the earth are part of. You believe fully that you are inseparable from the earth, the cosmos, gravity, the laws that rule the universe. Just as you believe your brain and, erroneously, your mind is inseparable from your body. Thus, your confusion is also your key to understanding. You need but look at creation's projection to understand the nature of perfection in your own self as creator and created. Being part of the whole that is your known universe has made you and no other being less consequential. All over the world, people of good faith fight to save even one life. Each life is irreplaceable, and no one argues this point. Yet you allow yourself to resist the whole idea of God because you believe that what is one cannot also be many. Give up this notion of losing yourself to God, and you will be done for all time with resisting God. Only in God can you find yourself. This is known to you and is the reason for man's quest for God throughout all time. Man may think he looks to God for answers, for release from pain, for reward, or for an afterlife. But man has always looked to God for his own self. Not looking to God to find yourself would be akin to searching everywhere but the earth for humankind. If you do not seek where what you wish to find can be found, you seek in vain. The purpose of the mind is extension, thus the upside-down perception that causes you to protect your private thoughts and see them as the seat of yourself, calls for the exact opposite of extension. This is the only true source of conflict. And yet again, your perception of your thoughts as yourself is the closest answer to the truth that you are able, in your limited view of yourself, to come up with. There's a part of you that knows that you have higher thoughts and knows that these higher thoughts are yourself. Rather than discriminating between higher and lower thoughts, you have aggrandized all of your thoughts and given them an identity we have called the ego. Without dislodging your belief in your ego as yourself, you will never realize your true identity. For some, this dislodging occurs by coming to a better understanding of the mind. For others, by coming to a better understanding of the heart or love. How the ego becomes dislodged matters not. What matters is where you place your devotion. Devotion cannot be split and must be total to be at all. Thus, while you believe you are devoted to the thoughts of a split mind, you are devoted to nothing. This is why so many attempts at understanding fail. Try to come to understanding with a split mind is impossible. Impossible learning goals lead to depression. This is why we must learn anew with a mind and heart joined in wholeheartedness. The ego is that part of yourself that clings to the idea of separation and thus cannot grasp the basic truth of your existence, that giving and receiving are one in truth. Put another way, all this says is that in order to be yourself, you have to share yourself. What you keep, you lose. This is the principle of giving and receiving that, being finally and totally understood, will free you to be wholehearted. All that you would keep private and unshared is, in essence, who you think you are. I say who you think you are, because it is important to distinguish who you think you are from who you truly are. On the one hand, you think that you are your past, your shame, your guilt. On the other, that you are your future, your glory, your potential. You neither want to share your most negative nor your most positive thoughts about yourself. These are great secrets, the secrets that fill your mind day to day with thoughts that keep you from yourself. And so, there is just a small portion of yourself you share, the portion that your ego has deemed safe, acceptable, presentable, the portion that your ego has deemed will cause you no risk. It is the ego that asks, are you certain that if you share that feeling, you will still be loved? Are you certain that if you reveal that secret, you will still be safe? Are you certain that if you try something new, you will still be accepted? It is the ego that deems honesty a game, the ego that you let decide upon your truth. For what you live is what you believe is the truth about yourself. While you continue to live dishonestly, your notion of what your identity truly is cannot improve. My dear brothers and sisters, what you truly are cannot be improved upon. But because you're in a state of unremembering, you must relearn who you are. You can only relearn who you are by being who you are. You can only be who you are by sharing who you are. The truth is your identity. Honesty is being free of deception. You, who are already worrying about honesty and sharing being about some need to confess, think a moment about why you are worried. The idea of confessing is an idea of shame. Rather than thinking of who you are being all tied up with sin and a need for forgiveness, think of this simply as a need to share. This would seem antithetical with what I have already said, that what you keep, you lose, and what you share, you gain. You think of confessing as a way of letting go and getting rid of that which you do not want. Some of you believe this can be done and others don't. Those who believe in it believe in sin and that it can be replaced by forgiveness. Those who do not believe in it do not believe that sin can be forgiven and do not seek forgiveness. Believing forgiveness is something that they do not deserve. Few truly believe in atonement or at-one-ment or undoing. Few truly believe there is no sin. Few truly believe that they are not the sum of their behaviors. How, then, is confession good for the soul? You cannot be honest while you do not know the truth about yourself. If you remembered yourself, notions such as confession being good for the soul would be no more. But in order to remember yourself, you need a means of learning who you are. Everything that has ever happened in your life has happened as a learning device to help you remember who you are. Those things about which you feel guilt and shame are simply the remnants of lessons unlearned. While you hang on to them by keeping them hidden, no learning occurs. Who you are is love, and all things brought to love are seen in a new light, a light that keeps what you would learn to help you remember who you are, and in that remembrance transforms the rest, leaving you with nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to keep hidden, leaving you with nothing but the truth of who you are. Thus, what you give through sharing, you gain in truth. No other type of gain is possible. The same is true of your potentials, which brought to love are accomplished and simply become the truth that is always existing about who you are. Sharing is thus not about who you think you are, but about who you truly are. And yet it is the way to learn the difference, while learning is still necessary. Sharing is the means through which the holy relationship you have with everything is revealed in truth. This truth lies within everything that exists, as it lies within you. As you learn that who you are is love, no deception is possible, and you can only be who you are in truth. What you gain in truth is never lost or forgotten again, because it returns remembrance to your mind. What your mind remembers cannot not be shared. Your ego thoughts can never share the truth with you, nor with anyone else. The ego invented the idea of telling the truth and using it as an opponent and using it as an opposite to telling an untruth or lie. Thus were born ideas of being able to keep truths a secret. One of the most ridiculous ideas of the ego thought system. Your past has nothing to do with the truth about who you are, except in the degree to which it has or has not helped you to remember who you are. What you have learned in truth resides in your mind as part of you. What you have not learned from awaits your learning, or in other words, awaits the transfer of your feelings and experience to truth, and thus to your mind. Only the truth abides within your mind, for only it can enter the holy altar you share with me. This altar is not a thing, but a devotion to the one truth, the whole truth. Being of one mind is being of one truth. And how can you be of anything less? Only the ego sprang from a lie, the lie of separation that created the illusion of separate minds and varying degrees of truth. Just as you look to God for yourself, knowing not what it is you seek, so too do you look to your brothers and sisters and all else that lives along with you. But when you look, knowing not what you seek, what you find varies. Since there is only one truth, finding a variety of answers means nothing. If you but change what you look for, what you see, and what you learn will also change. If you can look for yourself, then your brothers and sisters, however, they must also be able to look for themselves in you. If you are constantly reflecting back what you think your brothers and sisters want to see, they can learn nothing from you. If your truth about who you think you are changes day to day, you are reflecting the very variety of answers they expect to find and have been finding elsewhere. You do not think you are looking for yourself in others, but think instead that you are looking for something or someone other than yourself. Certain times of your life, you state this seeking you are doing quite clearly, and it is always specific. You are looking for a friend, a spouse, a mentor, You believe you are seeking something other than you to complete yourself, because you are seeking to complete yourself. You are seeking wholeness, and you are even correct in seeking it from your brothers and sisters, just not in the way you perceive. When you find the truth of any brother or sister, you find the truth about yourself, for the truth does not change. And if who you truly are is the truth, how can you be different? Thus, it can be said that the truth and the mind are one in truth. The truth is what is. What is not the truth is illusion. Does this not make perfect sense? It is in this perfect sense of the perfect sanity of truth that salvation lies. Salvation is simply your return to yourself. If your sister and brother seek the truth or salvation from you, and you seek the truth or salvation from them, what is truly occurring? How can this work? This is but another aspect of giving and receiving, being one in truth. Giving and receiving are both taking place, both at the same time, as are seeking and finding. Once you are aware of what it is you seek, this aspect of giving and receiving as one is called relationship. It allows you to experience who you are and thus to know or remember who you are. It is in your recognition of the truth about your brother and sister that you recognize the truth about yourself. It is only in relationship that this occurs, because only in relationship are you experiencing anything. You do not exist outside of relationship, just as your mind does not exist outside of oneness. Your experience here is but an extension of mind into a realm in which experience can occur. Your ego has made of this something different than it is. Rather than extension of mind, your experience has become a projection of ego. This can change. As you interact with your brothers and sisters, you seek to get to know them. You do this so that you find what you have in common and go on from there to shared experiences. You also seek to know your brothers and sisters so that you will come to know what to expect from them. Once you have determined a brothers or sisters usual mode of behavior, deviations from that usual mode is concerned. Once you have determined a brother's or sister's usual mode of behavior, deviations from that usual mode concern you. You may determine someone is in a mood and see that the effects of that mood are either good or bad for either you or them or both. Since you live in a world of such extreme uncertainty, one of your highest requirements of those you have relationships with is a mode of behavior that allows you to know what to expect. Thus, as you move from acquaintances to relationships of a deeper nature, you quickly determine the nature of those relationships and have an investment in them, staying the same. Since this is most often true for them as well, you too become locked into the expected sameness. One relationship in which this is not the case is the relationship of teacher and student. Another relationship that expects change and growth is that of parent to child. These two relationships have comprised your ideas of our Father and me, as you have realized that you are here to learn. Now, with a clear learning goal in mind, these idealized relationships must be broadened so that they are seen in all rather than in a few, and so that they are seen clearly as what they really are. So thank you for listening. I'm going to pause here at the end of chapter 31. And next time we'll read chapter 32, Love Return to Love. That's for next time. So thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. May all be included in all we've done here and in all we do. And may this be a blessing to you, to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. Thank you.